You know, there are 2 Avengers movies coming, Rob. I don't know if you heard about that. One is called Kang Dynasty. It's going to be directed by the director of Shang-Chi. It's got a writer as well. And there's Secret Wars. Now, Secret Wars, a lot of people are speculating that we're going to get Ryan Coogler directing that. I'm at the point that I'm actually going to be a little bit surprised if it's not, but it could be anybody. We'll see. But one thing we do know about Secret Wars, we've got ourselves a writer for it, apparently. According to Deadline, Michael Waldron, who apparently is Dexter Morgan. Come on, tell me that doesn't look like Dexter, like who just haven't shaved in a few days. Anyway, we've got Michael Waldron, who according to Deadline, he has signed up to be the writer, or at least is in final negotiations to be the writer for Avengers Secret Wars. So a lot of you guys might be asking, well, who is Michael Waldron? Well, he doesn't have what you would call an extensive writing background, but he's got some big marquee projects on it. Let's take a look at this. So Michael Waldron, he's done a few projects. First of all, he was the lead writer for Loki. He was also the executive producer and writer on that show Heels that a lot of people seem to really like. And he is, of course, the writer of Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. All right. And then he also wrote 1 or 2 episodes of Rick and Morty. But I mean, that's pretty much the extent of his writing resume. Now, according to Deadline, people at Disney have liked his take on what Secret Wars could be. And apparently they're already moving to get him to start writing the film. I'm not going to lie to you. I have some concerns. I don't hate it. I don't hate this choice. I have some concerns. I didn't love Loki, but I thought Loki was okay. You know, again, I didn't love it, but hey, it's Loki. And what they were trying to do with Loki was pretty bonkers. And so it's not like any writer could have just stepped in and done a great job with Loki, but again, didn't love Loki. I still haven't had a chance to watch Steven's show Heels. From everybody I've talked to, everybody says it's really quite good, but I haven't had a chance to watch that show yet. So that one's got to go to the side. Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. Again, a movie I think is okay. I think it had some incredible highlights to it, had some big problems to it. So as I sit back and I look at the choice, and again, I say this as somebody who was not in the room to hear the pitch, to know what the story idea is. And if I was, maybe I would have a totally different opinion. But I can only base an opinion off what I know. And the limited information that we have is, well, he did Loki and he did Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I think you've had some people in the MCU write stuff that has been much better. I think you have people even outside of the Marvel walls, you have people within the Disney house, at the larger, wider Disney house, that have written much better. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's a bad pick because, again, maybe his pitch is dynamite. And again, like Loki, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is not some easy film. Some idiots will go and say, well, that was a movie that could have written itself. Are you kidding me? Look at the concepts they had in that. That was not an easy nut to crack, okay? And do I think he did a great job? No. But I thought he did an okay job. So, yeah, I'm not going to say I love it. I'm not going to say I hate it. Rob, I'll just say I have some concerns. I got some concerns. You hear about his name being brought up here. How do you feel about it?
Well, you know, it's funny. I've been thinking a lot about the MCU, believe it or not, in my spare time. But I think that when you had writers like Marcus and McFeely who wrote Winter Soldier and Civil War and Infinity War and Endgame, to me, that's my Marvel universe. That's the kind of Marvel universe that I liked. And there was kind of a continuity there in the writing and the tone and the subject matter, and I think it all really worked. I think one of the things, they're branching out, they're trying all these different writers. Like you, I thought Loki really pushed, it's pretty goofy. Like,
but it's also ambitious.
Oh, very ambitious.
Also pretty ambitious.
It's very ambitious, and I liked a lot of it, but the time variance authority and everything that happened in Loki felt very far removed from, say, Winter Soldier.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and that's what I thought it pushed the boundaries of the Marvel Universe as it exists too far. Kang Dynasty, if it's anything like the comic story, we know they've always loosely adapted these things, is a bonkers, huge story. But it's much more along the lines of an Infinity War.
Right.
Whereas Secret Wars, depending on how they go, because there's the old Secret Wars from the 80s, then there's Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars with Battle World and all that. it depends what the tone is. I hope it's less Multiverse of Madness and more Infinity War, if that makes sense. Because all of these giant fantasy ideas, whether it's Loki, whether it's Thor, Love and Thunder, I think it's spinning off its axis a little bit. And I'd like to see it kind of brought back. It's so weird to say, I'd like to see more realism in Secret Wars, John. But I do. I want to see more of the real world intrigue. I think we're going to get that with Secret Invasion. But I mean, I think this is a good choice if he's reined in.
See, now if you're looking for something to be optimistic about, consider this. One of the problems I contend that Marvel Phase 4 has been that Kevin Feige can no longer be directly hands-on with most things. And I think you've felt that. I think you have really felt that in the overall, hey, the MCU Phase 4 has still been good, but you felt the drop in quality from the previous phases, even though they've had some spectacular stuff. But with the movies that have the word Avengers in it, Kevin Feige is going to be more directly hands-on. And we've seen what's happened when Kevin Feige has worked with, I mean, again, I want to remind everybody that the directors of Civil War and Infinity War and Endgame, their previous big thing was You, Me, and Dupree.
Right. That was 15 years before that.
Yeah. But you have a Kevin Feige who knows how to bring the best out of those type of people and really click with them and give the right guidance to it. Something great can happen. And so if you're looking for something to be optimistic about, if you're not feeling great about this particular name, Michael Waldron being brought in, the writer of Loki and Doctor Strange 2, remember this, Kevin Feige will be more hands-on. And he clearly was not very hands-on with Doctor Strange 2. We've heard Sam Raimi say that Feige stayed a little bit more hands-off on that. I think that became clear. But I think with him being more directly involved, I think that gives a bigger reason for optimism. But we'll find out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about the selection of Michael Waldron? Maybe you love it. Maybe you loved Loki and really liked Doctor Strange 2. Maybe you hate the pick. Maybe you hated those things. Maybe you're more like me where you're like, it's not who I would have picked, but maybe, I don't know. How do you guys feel about the selection? Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, MeUndies. Now, guys, I admit for all my life, I have been a low quality underwear wearing kind of guy. I always just got the cheapest pack of underwear I could find because I never really thought about it. Well, that all changed when I started wearing MeUndies. They are simply the softest and most comfortable underwear I have ever owned, and I will never go back. And guys, spooky season is here, and so is the latest Halloween collection by MeUndies. Warning though, it's scary soft. MeUndies is back with a new limited edition prints like Jack Attack, No Body Like You, and Spell It Out. So go on and grab undies, socks, bralettes, and more made from their feels like you have nothing on micromodal fabric. And if you need a last minute costume, be lazy and transform into a spooky skeleton with their loungewear set, Lazy Bones. Guys, the scary soft hype is real. If you're not impressed with MeUndies, your first pair is on us. That's a promise. To get 20% off your first order and free standard shipping on US orders, go to MeUndies.com/Campea. That's MeUndies.com/Campea.